What if the answers we seek about the future have been right in front of us all along? Ancient prophecies, spoken thousands of years ago, are not distant myths. They might be unraveling even now, in ways we never expected. What does the Bible truly say about the world that's coming? In this video, we'll reveal how these ancient words still shape our present and future, more than we realize. Throughout the Bible, from Ezekiel to Revelation, prophecies have been foretold, warning of wars, unrest, and hope for a new world. Some are specific, while others are mysterious, but together they form a roadmap to what might be waiting for humanity. Stick with us as we decode these messages, showing you the relevance of these ancient texts for today's world. If you're ready to dive deep into the hidden meaning of biblical prophecy, keep watching. The cyclical nature of prophecy. Throughout history, biblical prophecy has been cyclical, repeating patterns that echo across generations. The events described in books like Ezekiel and Zechariah don't just point to a single, definitive end times event. They play out over and over again, reminding us that humanity is caught in a divine loop of rise, fall, and renewal. Consider Ezekiel 38 verse 8, which speaks of a land that was restored from war and its people gathered from the nations. This prophecy initially seemed fulfilled with the return of the Jewish exiles from Babylon, yet it re-emerged in modern times with the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 after World War II. But it doesn't stop there. Wars, exiles, and restorations have been ongoing themes throughout history, not just for Israel, but for the entire world. Think about the last 500 years. The rise and fall of empires, the devastation of wars, and the subsequent rebuilding efforts. The Treaty of Westphalia in 1648, which ended the 30 Years' War, echoes these biblical cycles of conflict and renewal. Then there's the end of World War I in 1918, followed by yet another cycle of devastation in World War II. It's as if the prophecy isn't only about one nation, but speaks to a universal human experience: war, exile, and eventual restoration. Ezekiel's prophecies, and others like them, don't just point to a single moment in time. They seem to be alive, recurring through wars, treaties, and the rebuilding of nations. Could we be living through yet another repetition of these ancient words? And if so, what's the next cycle we're about to enter? Gog and Magog, what do they represent? Gog and Magog, two names that have fascinated theologians, historians, and scholars for centuries. These mysterious figures, described in both Ezekiel and Revelation, have shifted meaning over time. Some see them as ancient nations destined to battle Israel in the last days, while others interpret them as symbols of global conflict, spiritual warfare, or even natural disasters. In Ezekiel 38 verse 15, we read about a vast army coming from the far north to attack Israel in the last days. You will come from your place out of the far north, you and many peoples with you. And I will bring you against my land, so that the nations may know me. Historically, Gog and Magog have been connected to invasions like those of the Mongols or the Ottoman Empire. But if we look at more recent history, we see striking similarities to global alliances and conflicts. Take the Cold War, for example, a period when superpowers from the north were on the brink of catastrophic war, with alliances formed across the globe, nations poised to strike, just as the Bible foretold. Even today, the ongoing tensions between global powers remind us of these ancient prophecies. Whether it's modern-day military alliances or spiritual battles waged within societies, the echoes of Gog and Magog can be seen all around us. Could these prophecies be more than distant predictions? Are they unfolding right before our eyes, as nations rise and clash in ways eerily similar to what Ezekiel described thousands of years ago? Israel, the central role in prophecy. From the earliest pages of the Bible, Israel is at the heart of God's plan for humanity. But the role of Israel in prophecy may go beyond the physical borders of a nation. It might represent something much larger, a symbol for humanity's relationship with the divine. The prophecies concerning Israel are often tied to restoration and redemption, themes that resonate universally. In Zechariah 8 verses 7 to 8, we see God's promise to bring his people back. I will save my people from the east country and from the west country, and I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem. And they shall be my people, and I will be their God. In the last 500 years, the world has seen events that seem to reflect these ancient prophecies. The re-establishment of Israel in 1948 is often viewed as the fulfillment of these promises, but it doesn't stop there. Think about how many nations, groups, and people have sought redemption after times of exile and war. Following World War II, millions of displaced people found new homes, whether through political changes, independence movements, or migration. Isaiah 66 verse 8 captures this in one striking verse. Who has heard such a thing? Who has seen such things? Shall a land be born in one day? Shall a nation be brought forth in one moment? Could the restoration of Israel and the global movements of people in the 20th century be part of a broader prophetic pattern? It's not just about one nation. It's about humanity seeking restoration and a return to peace. As history moves forward, we are witnessing cycles of exile and return, just as the Bible predicted. The two Messiahs. In Jewish tradition, there's a powerful idea of two Messiahs, Mashiach ben Joseph, the suffering servant, and Mashiach ben David, the triumphant king. These two figures represent different aspects of redemption. One will endure suffering for the people, while the other will bring ultimate victory and peace. Isaiah 53 verse 3 describes the suffering servant. He was despised and rejected by mankind, a man of suffering and familiar with pain. Throughout history, we've seen leaders rise who bear the weight of their people's suffering, only to be rejected or fall under tragic circumstances. Think about the revolutions and uprisings over the last 500 years, where leaders have sacrificed everything to lead their people out of oppression, only to meet defeat or martyrdom. These moments echo the role of Mashiach ben Joseph. Then, in contrast, comes the figure of Mashiach ben David, the victorious ruler who restores peace. Jeremiah 23 verse 5 speaks of this. Behold, the days come, says the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. Consider how after times of great struggle, we often see new eras of peace emerge. After World War II, many nations saw periods of recovery and rebuilding, led by figures who helped restore hope and justice. It's as if these messianic roles are not just reserved for the distant future. They seem to play out repeatedly through history, as suffering gives way to peace. Are we living through another phase of this prophecy right now? As we look around at the world's current state of upheaval, could we be in the middle of the suffering servant's role, waiting for the moment when the triumphant king will bring restoration? The hidden timelines. One of the most intriguing aspects of biblical prophecy is the idea of hidden timelines. The books of Daniel and Revelation contain cryptic references to time, days, weeks, and years that seem to point to specific events in the future, yet remain a mystery to most. Daniel 9 verse 24 speaks of 70 weeks that are decreed to finish transgression and bring in everlasting righteousness. 70 weeks are decreed upon thy people and upon thy holy city, to finish the transgression, to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness. For centuries, scholars have tried to interpret these timelines. Many believe they pointed to major historical events, such as the destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70 or the rise of major empires. In more recent times, some see the events of the last 500 years, such as the French Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, and the World Wars, as markers within these prophetic timelines. Revelation 12 verse 6 also speaks of a woman fleeing into the wilderness for 1,260 days, a period that has been interpreted as symbolic of the church or the people of God being protected during times of great tribulation. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. Could these hidden timelines point to events we've witnessed in the last few centuries? Are the wars, famines, and revolutions of recent history part of a grand prophetic timeline? And more importantly, are we nearing the fulfillment of these prophecies? The events we see today may be more than just random occurrences. They could be part of a divine countdown, leading us toward the next great chapter of humanity's story. As we've explored, the ancient prophecies of the Bible are not just relics of the past. They are living, breathing messages that continue to shape our world today. From the cycles of war and peace to the rise of Israel and the mysterious roles of Gog and Magog, these prophecies speak to our present and future in powerful ways. Thank you for joining us on this fascinating journey. If you found this video enlightening, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more insights into biblical stories and their hidden meanings.